Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I never thought that I'm going to be asked to surrogate someone on the speech as well. And this is Mr. Fareed Lutfi. Last night, he called me and he said he's feeling they have some throat inspection and all, but he was waiting for the report which he got positive tested now. And he said, if I'm okay, I'll come in the morning, otherwise I'll let you know. So, but then what I'm going to read is his speech, not mine, which he has sent it to me to read on behalf of Mr. Fareed Lutfi as a keynote speaker. So bear with me if it is long, again coming from him. Welcome everyone, and a good morning to you all. The COVID-19 pandemic unleashed and accelerated remarkable changes and innovations in the insurance industry and our society. Almost overnight, companies switched to operate nearly exclusively from home. Meetings turned into online conferences. Events became webinars. Products were launched and maintained online. The recent application of innovative techniques such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data to the insurance sector, as well as birth of startup focused on offering this type of solution to create disruptive insurance product, has strengthened and consolidated Insuretek. Throughout the day, listening to speakers and panelists, we will realize that digital transformation has become more vital than ever before for the insurance and reinsurance industry. We will learn today that creation of a structured data base is made easier through digitalization. We will also know that big data is the heart of digital transformation. Very often, reinsurance brokers play a big role as they are the ones assisting insurance companies in formatting and the analysis of data for reinsurers. The business model of reinsurance broking has indeed evolved fast over the years, with cedents now demanding everything from the analytics software and risk modeling support, of course, to the placement. Standardization of data and formats is a must to help both insurers and reinsurers, which define adequate terms and conditions. Today, insurance is in the big era of big data and the development and formation, which is in volume. The revolution induced by the new technologies has not spared the insurance industry. The data digitized in recent years by the sector have witnessed a colossal leap. Information sources and traditional processing methods are no longer capable of providing insurers with a competitive advantage. With the development of IT, the amount of data usable by insurance companies has also grown exponentially. This situation results from the various technological breakthroughs, such as increasing storage capacity, growing reliability of data, the marketing of better performing computers, etc. In fact, the digital era began 20 years back, and storage solutions have continually evolved ever since. Many of you will not even know about the punch tape, magnetic tape, floppy disk, compact disk storage, and if you do, they are a long gone memory of data storage. Definitely here, some of us, we have used that. From those modes, we moved into hard drives, USB drives, and now the cloud. See the evolution of storage modes and capacity of new IT services such as internet, social network, cloud, connected objects, and devices like Alexa, Siri. The big data highlights two kinds of data. Structured data, information that companies regularly use because they can be easily used after their collection and classification. This includes demographic and economic data. There's another unstructured data. They include resources that are not organized in a predefined way, such as videos, speeches, social media, content, email, etc. These data are growing rapidly as well. Until recently, the decision made by insurance companies have relied on a certain amount of structured data. With the booming social media, there emerged a colossal amount of unstructured or unlabeled data. The new data technological breakthrough have enabled the emergence of new data based on the use designed to them. These data will have a direct impact on the products, brand, customer perception of insurers, and much more. Gathering information is, however, not enough. It is especially essential to know and be able to use it. It is worth noting that the authorities are entitled to restrict the use of part of the data available. Breakthrough towards an all-digital system means that data may be collected by anyone at any time, a finding that puts additional pressure on insurers who can no longer rely solely on their own in-house data. Indeed, they will be bound to use all sources of information to better understand the risks surrounding them, attract customers, and retain them. This approach compels insurers to be proactive. They are required to forecast rather than react. Such a strategy is only possible when they have sufficient data and enable them to understand and constantly monitor the needs of their customer, to whom they are committed to providing tailor-made solutions. Insurance and big data, speedy collection and use of data. These are traditionally, the insurer is supposed to collect data by means of discontinuous process prior to processing them in order to make them usable by the different departments. Information processing methods have been scheduled to be carried out at specific times and frequency, once in a week or a month. Today, the use of new technologies, some of which free of rights, like those developed by the Foundation EPIC, paves the way for acquisition, selection, and use of structured as well as unstructured information in a few seconds. To gain time, insurers are required to set the priorities towards which they will dispatch their resources made of sensors, connected object, fraud detectors, mathematical patterns, simulation software. How do insurers use big data? The first use of big data today focuses on risk pricing, underwriting, and selection. Activities pertaining to marketing, distribution, and sale of products come second, well behind, as they do not understand as the priority of the moment. The use of sensors and connected objects is precisely in motor and health insurance that sensors and connected objects are most developed these days. In the automotive industry, the introduction of sensors in the vehicles enables the insurance and insured to obtain customized rate, speed, the place of passage, the time bracket, and timings during which the car has been used or processed, resulting in a rate that is adapted to the driving mode. This technology enables the insurer to be posted in real time. The processing of the data collected by such means allows good drivers to benefit from tariff discount. Driverless cars operated by means of sensors are about to revolutionize the insurance business by transferring driver third-party liability towards that of car makers and other software suppliers such as Google and Uber. If we talk about the health insurance, numerous insurers are taking advantage of technological breakthrough to come up with customized covers that are adapted to their customers and their risk profile. The information used as a basis for pricing is also supplied by detectors placed around the body of the policyholder, such as bracelets, watches, and wearables. These sensors make it possible to monitor remote patients and to guide them, if need be, toward the closest and most convenient medical center. Moreover, the information gathered make it possible to make remote diagnosis, prescribe targeted therapies, and detect diseases based on predispositions, set up preventive medicine, reduce risk, and decrease mortality rate. Homeowners insurance, if we talk about, is also set to follow on the footstep of motor and health insurance. Home automation devices can provide insurers with information on the lifestyle of their customers beyond the home security aspect. They may, for instance, detect fires and stop them from spreading. They may be proactive around telemonitoring, managing the use of lighting, energy, etc. Not only do these new technologies provide a standard of comfort, but they also reduce loss experience. The role of data in insurance fraud detection is particularly exposed to fraud which may take place during the underwriting of the contract when policyholders withhold information that is likely to increase the rate of risk premium. So fraud may also happen upon the occurrence of an event with policyholders drafting a misrepresentation to obtain compensation to which they are not entitled. With the advent of new technologies, insurers are now endowed with different means and tools that enable them to check the truthfulness of the notifications made by the policyholder. Upon the occurrence of an event, insurers can also verify the presence or not of the policyholder on the spot of the event, thanks to the social network from which they may consult cell phone data and emails. Insurers are also getting to know whether the policyholder has had any contact with a third party involved in the claim. Eventually, some insurers are using the statistical prediction model to spot scammers. These processes are based on the conduct of both fraudulent and non-fraudulent customers. Based on the finding of this analysis, it is possible to model future behaviors to measure the likelihood of fraud among customers. Other methods make use of big data to process the information collected on every customer. Thanks to the data available to insurers, the latter may use text mining. This process rests on the analysis of the words used in the claim notification. Because some words are more frequently used by scammers, they may indicate a potential fraud. Finally, the abundance of information collected by means of big data makes it possible to improve the scoring technique set up by the insurance company. The role of big data in the adjustment strategy of insurer, the collection of substantial amount of quantitative as well as qualitative approach, the data and the evolution of the system of information technologies further make it possible to provide customer with better adapted guaranteed. It is now possible for insurer to set up automated analysis to adjust covers according to the needs detected and to respond accurately to the different demands of the insured. Improve risk analysis and maximize profitability. The bigger quantitative samples are the more faithfully drafted risk behavior we obtain. Tariffs are therefore set in a more accurate way. Obtain better consistency of the risk accepted by the insurer by minimizing random fluctuations thanks to a sophisticated portfolio analysis on the policy per policy basis. Insurance companies depend largely on their distribution network, whose management is of paramount importance. By monitoring in details the performance of agent and brokers, by processing some key information, such as the rate of loss of customers and the average size of risk calculation of the commission given to each intermediary, also becomes better adapted to the product effort of the latter. Big data and customer loyalty of insurers, which customers to keep and which ones need no longer be included in the portfolio. The answer to this question may be resolved through the extraction and analysis of the information available thanks to, again, the big data. The IT system in the hands of insurance company may detect the quotes issued by their rivals for the customer in portfolio. They may also spot the customer in search of more competitive tariff. Likewise, when the situation of a policyholder changes, insurers fail to react soon enough to grasp whether the insured needs a different coverage. That happens, for instance, during a change in the purchasing power of a customer, when a student enters the labor market, when an employee gets promoted or leaves on retirement. Nowadays, the tools designed to analyze sales are witnessing huge development. They provide customers with optimal covers in keeping with their profile and make it possible to retain policyholders who are likely to shift towards competition. The question raised by big data, while big data fills insurers with hope, it nonetheless remains a source of concern. Resulting upheavals may have numerous negative effects. The one which is policyholders' confidential data and information are held by private companies and public departments. Some of these data may be personal nature in connection with the health, banking, and financial situation of the insured. These data may come to the possession of malicious person or computer hackers. The issue is to find out the extent to which laws can protect them from the insured and the insurer not depleting the data. This situation now constitutes an impediment to use of data again. So that's the negative side. The provision of covers at customized tariff is also likely to be prejudicial to the sector as it goes against the principle of risk mutualization that is at the core of the insurance industry. The specific knowledge of risk and their constant monitoring would also remove a large part of the hazard, another basic principle of insurance. Human as well as material investment is also designed to collect and process informations are important for insurance. As big data turned out to be necessary, the insurers who fail to get adapted to it are also doomed to extinctions. Moreover, this new technology has prompted the arrival of new competitors such as Google, who have by nature access to the user's data and are endowed with the financial and technical resources that enable them to make the difference and prevail. The use of the artificial intelligence, if we talk about in insurance, within an insurance company, artificial intelligence may play out at two levels, the back office and the customer relationship. We talk about back office, most of automation announcement or initiative pertain to the operation carried out at the level of the back office, establishment and drafting of contract, calculation of contributions, claim reimbursement. And if we talk about customer relationship in the field of insurance, artificial intelligence is more and more focused on customer relationship. The system operates at the insured convenience, regardless of the time or the day when the call is made. Availability and proactivity are the genuine assets for the integration of the automatic system. Hence, it is all about some contracting. So nowadays, the tool designed to analyze sales are witnessing huge development. Okay. Obviously, many industries are using this technology. How well do you need, for instance, ENBDs, EVA, or Etisalat's virtual assistant? We all experience day to day. Benefit of automation and artificial intelligence on the insurance industry, which we talk about, this is the adoption of the artificial intelligence, which will also characterize some of the insurers' activities with more rigor and rational. Indeed, AI will make it possible for the insurance market to meet most of these requirements. Consequently, the recourse to artificial intelligence will lead to an optimization of management cost, a nearly 80% reduction in expenditure. There is also a disadvantages of robots in insurance industry which we are using, and the establishment of a system based on the technologies of artificial intelligence is not risk-free. Some concern may be raised as follows. The insured preference to maintain human contacts. Some companies around the world make it one of their USP that a human will answer their phone versus some automated situation. Final decision making. Once the customer file has been finalized, it is up to the human staff to take the final decision. Robots are also confined to some administrative, recurrent, or accounting task in insurance, which is taking place these days in the back office. Parting perspective, while insurers in the Middle East are facing the pressure to disrupt or to be disrupted, the reality is that somehow yet to lay a digital infrastructure as the foundation for innovation and Insuretech. To sum up, the stark reality is that industry leaders who have invested in a strong base of digital processes and systems are now well positioned to grasp the exciting opportunities created by the rise of new technologies and see the change in customer trends and behavior. Ladies and gentlemen, I wholeheartedly thank you for the privilege of your time and wish you all a productive day. Now let's get started here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And we look forward to having Farid Lutfi sir very soon with us in good health. Before we steer full speed ahead with our conference, let me brief you on our schedule for the day. There will be a total of 7 paper presentations followed by 3 panel discussions. The time duration for each paper presentation will be 20 minutes. Duration of the panel discussion will be 50 minutes. Since the event is being telecast live, I would request all our speakers to kindly stick to the time provided. The conference sessions are sponsored by Al Buhaira National Insurance Company and Insuretek Oasis. To start with the event conference, let me call on stage the moderator of this session, Ms. Meena Sahib. Ms. Meena Sahib has been working in the insurance industry for over 12 years, starting in Canada and making her way to the UAE, working in various roles in operations, digital transformation, retail, and banker insurance management. She has now joined the Insuretek industry as the UA Director of Business Operations for Fermion Merriman, an Asia-based Insuretech SaaS provider, serving insurers and their ecosystems towards their own digital transformation. She is also the founder of the Women's Insurance Network in UAE, WIN, an initiative she started in 2020 to support female professionals in the insurance industry in the UAE and provide for them a space to network and develop professionally. Ma'am, the floor is all yours, and I request you to kindly take over the dais. A round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Sonia. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Sabah al khair. To start with the first presentation of today's Insuretech conference, let me call on stage Lucas Aman, VP Sales, EMEA of Dakadu. Lucas joined Dakadu 6 years ago and today is responsible for the Europe, Middle East, and Africa business of the company. Following his master's degree in sports technology and administration at the EPFL in Lausanne in 2008, Lucas moved to Singapore, where he joined Asia's leading sports marketing and media agency. From 2008 to 2013, Lucas worked in various sales and business development roles in Asia's football, golf, and cricket business, operating mainly in Southeast Asia and Australia. Following his return to Europe in 2013, Lucas worked for a high-precision wearable technology company mainly used in Formula One before he joined Dakadu in 2015. Mr. Lucas Aman, welcome to the stage. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the introduction, and thanks for having me. It was the plan last year already to be here, but unfortunately the COVID restrictions and travel restrictions to and from Switzerland didn't allow that, so it's great to finally meet you in person. So I would like to start a little bit before I dive into today's session and to tell you a little bit about what Dakadu is, if you haven't met Dakadu before. So Dakadu is a Swiss health tech, Insuretech company. We are now 11 years old. We have about 130 employees. We operate across 7 different locations. Head office is in Zurich. That's also where I'm based. We already have snow there, so it's great to come to a place where it's a bit warmer. So basically, when we look at the main value proposition, it's basically 2 things that we do. We set up and we operate a health engagement platform and a health risk quantification, which is used by actuaries and underwriters for mortality and morbidity risk predictions. And the first one, the health engagement platform, is really as a tool for users to engage with their members better, more often. And we do that through a B2B2C journey and the way we approach the market. So our clients is not the insurance member, so the individual user, but actually the insurance out there. And we mainly focus on the health and life insurers. So these are our partners who use our technologies in different ways. Either we build fully customized white label solutions for them with their brand, with their content, depending where we need it, or we integrate into already existing digital platforms of these insurers. So it's quite a flexible construct. We have quite a few strategic partnerships also with reinsurers, with consultants, to really scale that offering. So just high level, in a nutshell, what we do, it's basically 3 things. It's very easy. So first of all, we connect our insurance clients with the technology. We score the health of an individual user or of a certain insurance population to really look at the health trends. What are they doing? Is the health trends positive or negative of a specific corporate, in order to get active in the prevent and predict side, and not just really as a payer, but really position the insurance as a lifestyle partner of the members. And then the last thing that we do is engage. We can only operate a successful health and well-being platform if the users keep on using it. So there's various gamification and reward elements that keep the users onboarded. So how do we do that? And I think it's very key today because we heard before from the presentation, the insurers on that digital journey are at different stages on that digital journey. So when you look at on the engagement value proposition on the left-hand side, you see what you see below in black. This is always the starting point. That's a back-end where we have the different features in, and then we build from there either the white label solution, so we build the apps for the insurers, or we integrate into something that's already there. But it's always the same API, the same starting point, the same also for the risk prediction. So just to give you a few examples of platforms that we have developed for insurers, and also to show you a little bit how we approach the market. So for example, for Aon, as the leading insurance broker globally, we built their Global Well One platform, which they're using solely for their corporate clients. So we built that solution for them, and they sell it to their corporates, and that's a great way of return of investments for digital initiatives. The same we did, for example, for Irish Life, the leading life insurance in Ireland, where we built their My Life solution. So the reason why I'm showing you this is the way we approach this market is you never see a Decadu brand. We are basically the tech partner in the background, and we developed the solution that is required. And we did the same for Generali or CHOP in Asia, or Sompo as the leading life insurance in Japan. So this is just a few examples of white label solutions. And the other options, which we do more and more now, when I started 6 years ago at Decadu, we mainly did white labels because there were not so many digital propositions in the market yet. But that has significantly changed because insurers evolved rapidly over the past 6, 7, 8 years in this space. So what we do more and more now is what you see here, for example, Manulife, as an existing client of ours, they had already their Moves app, their Moves proposition, where they do claims management, where they do certain kind of services. And they came to me and said, we want, in addition to what we're already doing today, we would like to integrate several features of what we offer in our backend. So we integrate directly into the Manulife Move app, which is their front end. They're in control of that. That's their roadmap, unlike with the white label solution where we have our roadmap, or with Seguros Unimed, for example, the largest health insurance in Brazil, where we serve the market through their existing application, and through the open RESTful API, that becomes possible. And we also see more and more banks coming our way, because banks see the need for, in addition to the financial offerings they're doing, they see the connection to the health and well-being space. So we have now just launched partnerships with HSBC and Standard Chartered, and more banks coming. But this was just a little bit to set the scene for you to understand what we really do and where we can add value for insurers in their whole digital journeys. But I want to quickly talk a little bit about, because we heard a lot in the past about the pandemic and how COVID really changed that insurance-client relationship. And I think what is really important is what we saw in this pandemic is really that what clients really need more than ever, that the clients need the insurers more than ever before. So in these uncertain times, people are looking for trust and trusted relationships and organizations they can trust. So during this crisis, the importance of trust has drastically increased. And what does that mean for the insurance? So the insurance clients, they want an advisor who really knows them and provides not just products, but really holistic advice on their health, wealth, and protection journeys. So a life partner and not just a payer. And I repeat myself, and I do that on purpose. So trust always was, and still is, also after this pandemic, the most important and key ingredient for buying insurance today. So what is the result of this? So the core mission for insurers is still based on building these trusting relationships, but the way insurance achieve that mission has clearly evolved, namely through remote work and digitization. So how can insurers achieve that core mission, which is building these trusting relationships now? What we see with the clients we work with is that we have to solve a problem that many of the insurance clients have today. And we see, and I would probably say 90% of the people here in this room, we all have that same problem. which is we have access to so many health data, so much health data provided to so many different devices and health apps, which throw a lot of health data to the users and to the insurance client's head. And if you're not a doctor or a sports scientist who know how to interpret this data, people just simply get lost. And what happens? We know that about 60 to 80% of users of these devices that you see here, Fitbits and Polars and Garmins and Zuntos and whatever they're called, they lose interest after about 3 to 6 months. And then the Fitbit appears in a drawer and is never used again. So we need to integrate these devices because many people use those, but we need to start making sense out of it. We believe that if we want to make an impact in people's health and life, we can only do that if we start measuring health in the first place. Because without measuring something, it's difficult to start managing it. So we've built this health score together with our scientific and medical advisory board more than 11 years ago, which is a number between 1 and 1,000, and the higher your number is, the healthier you are. And it's based on a huge data set today. We have more than 300 million man-years of clinical data which sits below this health score, which allows us to calculate the score and also calculate mortality and morbidity risks based on a certain input set of data that we have that I'm going to show you. So why is that health score interesting for insurers? Because it allows them to give the individual client a feedback of where they are, and it allows them to see a population, a trend of a population, of a corporate client, for example, and see where this health trend is going, and then get active, and with that, start that really digital loyalty and relationship that they need. So let your clients decide what devices they like to use. So that's why we are offering a fully hardware and device-independent solutions. If your clients like Fitbit, Polar, Garmin, Zuntos, they should continue to use those, but they should also be able to track all their data on their smartphones. And that's why we have launched also a global partnership in December last year with Apple. As one of the only providers in this space, we are the global design partner for the Apple Watch. So we have fully integrated all the elements on the engagement platform onto the Apple Watch, which allows insurance members to see all their health status on the Apple Watch. So obviously for this, we see up to 34% more engagement between the insurance and client relationship. So it's very, very key that we are able to offer such offerings to the members. What we have also done recently is launch a new concept of how we interact with the users, how we get them interested in actually their mental well-being, their nutrition, their activities, etc. We call this the Wheel of Life, and I just want to quickly show you how that looks like on an app, on the live demo. You see here the Wheel of Life, and in the middle you have the health score, which is the 767. And if the user clicks on this health score, he sees where he is, how that health score has evolved. You see over the past month whether that's increased or decreased. If the user clicks onto nutrition, the nutrition coach will ask him about his nutrition or her nutrition behavior. And depending on what answers I give to the nutrition coach will recommend nutrition programs to me depending on my profile. And if I go further to the activity, I see here again the activity coach is recommending the users activity programs which are geared towards their lifestyle. If somebody is more active, they get different programs to complete than others. And here is a lot of content available for the users to choose. So I can do my cardio training over lunch if I have time. And I see my activity summary through the connection to the Apple Health Kit. I see how many steps I did. So I don't need to do anything manually if I don't need to. I can read a big library on healthy nutrition, on activities, so that users can pick and choose whatever is interesting for them. Very important is also the mental well-being and the stress element. Lots of our insurance clients need more content in this space. They need to approach their members this way. So they can, again, they have a mental well-being coach that allows them to see where they are. They can select their mental coaches to do a stress release program, to listen to 12 minutes of stress release music. They can read articles about mental well-being. And then further below on the Meet page, they see the daily dashboard, so they're always informed about what's going on, the upcoming achievements, lots of articles that can be placed here. In terms of the tracking, as I mentioned before, it's very important that the insurance members can track If they have a device, they can do that. Or you see here what we have integrated. If they don't have one of these devices, they can track directly on the phone. And with this, insurers can open the reach for potential users drastically. So you see this is a workout that I have tracked in Switzerland recently. You see speed, elevation, you can upload your pictures. You see we already have snow here in the Swiss mountains. I was sledding with my kids. So this also works as a social network. I can post this on Facebook and Twitter or whatever. I have another engagement booster to keep users engaged there. On the social side, this is where insurance members can friend each other. This is a very important social element to keep the users engaged. Insurers can launch challenges in the areas of nutrition, activity, photo challenges, for example, and then in the end, the point system where I see for what kind of behavior I reach a certain amount of points, and these points can then be again used in an online shop with a great loyalty and engagement tool. So this is a fully flexible points earning model where insurance can decide how much worth does a point have and when do I get it and when does it actually expire. So that's just as an example of how such integration can happen. So what we talked about now was the health engagement. So how can you really, as an insurance, build that digital relationship and loyalty? And I think the other element I also wanted to quickly show you, which is the second offering, is we call it the risk engine. This is a tool not built for the insurance member, but really for actuaries and underwriters. So that's something that's happening in the background. To really use this in addition to the existing underwriting process and the life table that the insurance have. So what does it do? On the left-hand side, there is always an input set of data. There's more than 100 different data points that we can take into account. We run it through the engine, and then we get outputs on mortalities, morbidities, and then I also want to quickly talk about the applications. And what I would like to show you now is a quick live demo of how we do this risk prediction and calculation for you to get a feeling of how it actually works. But it is quite small. I tested it earlier today. So I will just talk about what you will see, because in the back you will not see it. So this is the risk engine client. And on the left side you have all the input sets. So it starts with age, gender, height, and weight as the minimum data set that the engine requires. But then it goes further down into all the blood values, the lipoproteins, the triglycerides, the glucose values. So as long as either we get this data through the engagement platform that I showed you before, or through a health risk assessment that the insurance is already doing, through also a connection with medical experts. Diagnosed diseases we have here. We have immediate family history of diseases as a proxy for genetics for us. And then come all the lifestyle data. So important input set for us obviously is smoking. And then the average move output. Then we see sleep data, also either through devices or through the coach interaction. Then the nutrition, the mental well-being part, and then the one below is the confidence interval for the actuaries, where we can calculate how close we want the data to be. So let's make a quick example. Let's say this person is 45 years old. Let's say this is a male. Let's say he's 180 centimeters high, and he weighs, what did we take here? 90 kilos. This all goes in the JSON file there. We could add more data if we have it. The reality is that most insurance don't have this data. That's why we need the engagement platform. Let's say this person is currently a smoker, was a smoker in the past. Let's say he smokes 10 cigarettes a day. So that is enough in order to do a risk calculation. So what basically is happening is that you get the risk outputs. So the all-cause mortality, excluding death from accidents or suicides, because we don't have that data to calculate with. We have cardiovascular mortality, we have cancer mortality, and then the morbidities, so the chances that this person develops this disease in the next 15 years, hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and metabolic dysfunction, with the risk index, the ratio, the set score, the risk percentiles for the actuaries. We have the reference mortality depending on which region we are in, obviously. If we are in Dubai, it's different to Hong Kong, Japan, or the US, for example. So what you see in blue here is what we gave the engine in the beginning. That's the input side. And what's very interesting now for insurers is what you see in yellow. So these are all the data that we didn't have on the input side, but the engine is calculating based on the data that we have. So this is basically imputing the missing values. So we see that the heart rate, the resting heart rate of that individual is 65.4 beats per minute with a confidence interval of 95%. Based on the 300 million man-years of data that we have, or the high-density lipoprotein is 1.4 millimoles per liter. And what does that do? This allows the insurers to really use this as an accelerated underwriting piece to really increase the operational efficiency of the insurance, to really make this whole STP process faster. And on the dynamic pricing area, this is where we talk about pay-as-you-live kind of products. Here we talk about lifestyle specific insurance product, disease-specific products. This is where we can talk about these things, where we have so much more lifestyle data that allows us to go into this direction. But here, obviously, our hands are bound because this market is very highly regulated by the regulator. But we are now with an insurance in Japan at a stage where we will launch a product in this space. So what does that risk engine do for the insurance? It's basically a much better use of the underwriting resources. It is a better risk classification. And for your customers, they get a better price product because we have so much more data to work with. It is a faster sale, less intrusive. You can do this online without having to send your member to a medical doctor. And this gives so many more opportunities for you with this insurance and member engagement. But where is the sweet spot? On the left side, you see the engagement. That's what we talked in the beginning. And on the right side is the risk engine. So without a health engagement platform, the risk engine cannot work because we don't have the data. The insurance, often they have data which is sometimes 20 years old. But what is today? So that's so important that we bring these two things together in order to do such mortality and morbidity risk predictions with real-time data. So that is all I wanted to share with you as of now. If you have any questions, here's my email. Please write me an email, or I'm also outside next to the registration area. There's a few chairs and so forth. So if you have questions, if you would like to talk more, please come over. I look forward to meet you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lucas. That was a very informative presentation. Our next speaker is Marcos Malzone, VP of Product Marketing, Solera Inc. He'll be delivering his presentation today. Marcos Malzone is the Global VP of Product Marketing for Solera, a senior executive with a track record in portfolio management for enterprise software companies within insurance and telecom. Marcos has had roots in the automotive repair industry since his teenage years, working in his family's body shop business in Brazil. In the last 3 years, Marcos has championed Solera's visual intelligence go-to-market program and is actively working with the industry to drive awareness and adoption across the world. Please welcome Marcos Malzone.
And repairers are under pressure to respond to the rising cost and complexity of vehicle repairs. There are various contributing factors. First, driver behavior is changing. As you know, the COVID pandemic definitely changed the traffic and driving patterns. Fewer miles were driven, but at faster speeds because of the decreased congestion. According to McKinsey, by 2040, there will be 15% less car-based travel in Europe and Asia. But while claim frequency was down, severity was up, as the statistics will show, with more airbag deployments and increase in total loss cases. Another negative driver-related trend that persists despite efforts to prevent it are distractions. Mostly texting, looking at a phone. Distractions cause crashes, particularly intersections, and among young drivers, who overestimate their driving abilities and reaction time. Another more literal environmental trend leading to increased loss frequency and severity is climate change. Weather is becoming more and more severe and unpredictable. But climate change is also changing how individuals and enterprises choose their methods of transportation, or even avoid traveling altogether. Now, turning to technology and vehicle complexity, there are challenges as well as benefits to consider. For example, ADAS systems clearly are a great leap forward in vehicle, driver, and passenger safety, but they also increase the cost and the complexity of the repair. Over the last 12 months, reports show an overall increase of 6.5% in repair costs just in the US market. The industry is also facing challenges to recruit and retain talent, putting pressure on productivity and efficiency. And with supply chain still in disruption, affecting the availability of parts and materials, longer cycle times are set to affect the experience of claimants, leading to more expensive and, in the end, less renewals. But before we talk about how AI estimating is helping the industry, I would like to share some great news of how Solera is helping insurers and fleet owners to improve driving behavior and reduce frequency. With the acquisition of eDriving, we are helping fleet owners like Nestlé, Coca-Cola, and Johnson & Johnson, as well as insurers like Zurich, Liberty Mutual, and IAG, to monitor and coach the behavior of over 1.5 million drivers around the world, and to reduce collisions in up to 6 to 7%. By using a smartphone app instead of black boxes, it offers a more cost-effective way to monitor drivers' behavior. It also offers an opportunity for insurers to position themselves as socially responsible organizations, helping to reduce fuel consumption, wear and tear costs, and to support lower carbon emissions. Let's go back to severity. Given the uptrends in repair costs, as well as the lack of qualified vehicle damage appraisals, it's more important than ever to make the damage estimating process more accurate in a scalable way. Damage appraisal is typically a manual and time-consuming process. It's also prone to error and subjectivity due to the lack of qualified professionals in this area. For example, making a wrong replace decision over repair or sending a total loss vehicle for repair could mean hundreds of dollars added to the claim. At Solera, we are helping some of the largest insurance companies to reduce expenses and save indemnity costs by introducing AI in the workflow. Their first step in this journey is to further digitalize the F&O process and ensure both customers and appraisers are equipped to capture images of damaged vehicles. The second step is to use AI to support the triage process. We know that in some markets, as many as 20% of total losses end up at the shop for repair, causing troubles for all parties involved. The AI triage then steers claims for straight-through processing, for desktop or field assessment, based on the predicted severity and the confidence that the AI have in the results. The next step in automation is to use AI for estimating and create a preliminary estimate. This estimate can be automatically approved by set rules or sent to a designated repair, or used by a claims handler to offer a cash settlement option for the policyholder. And finally, for claims started at the shop, or in case of third-party liability, the AI-assisted review process will check the repair's estimate against the AI estimate to either approve or reject it, flagging inconsistencies if found. Whichever is the way the claim starts, from the moment the AI receives images to the point a repair is authorized, we have observed times reducing from all the way to 60 to 10 minutes in comparison to a traditional process. As you can see, there are several opportunities to use AI for claims automation. So, what is Solera's approach to AI estimating? It combines best-in-class AI built by our own data scientists with Solera's world-leading estimating solutions. It generates a full line-by-line repair cost estimate by using photos and accurate vehicle repair data. The process starts with image categorization, where the AI prepares the images that are relevant for damage detection and check if they have the right quality. Then, our unique set of machine learning algorithms look for parts and damages. We support 36 outer parts and 5 damage types, including dents, scratches, cracks, missing parts, and glass damage. Finally, our unique approach to damage localization draws a line around the damage and calculates the affected area relative to the size of the part. Once the AI has done its job, it's time for our repair science to get into action. By using a rules-based approach, our repair science solution determines the right repair operation and repair times according to the best practices used by our customers. Next, thanks to our vehicle identification services, the exact path codes are identified, allowing the calculation to produce a pre-estimate. All of that in just under 30 seconds. To bring this all to life, let's watch a short video of Capture Intelligent Estimating, Solera's AI-powered claims platform.
Capture Intelligent Estimating, Solera's next-generation digital solution for claims management, is powered by artificial intelligence and computer vision technologies. Built on sub-second image processing technology, our machine learning models are trained by our global database with more than 1 billion images to identify the type and severity of damages. By combining state-of-the-art data science with more than 40 years of repair science, our vehicle-specific, option-driven repair methodology allows Capture to automate the estimating process with unmatched speed and accuracy. Following an accident, customers are invited by the insurance or body shop to report damages using our guided image capture technology. This user-centric, web-optimized application does not require downloading and guides customers through the image capture process step by step. Within moments, customers receive a text message with a link to submit their damage photos. Vehicle identification is made simple with our integrated OCR technology. Next, customers indicate all areas which have been damaged. Our patented technology overlays a vehicle mask to assist customers in taking the best pictures. Within seconds, this optimized and configurable damage capture workflow creates a preliminary estimate in Capture for review by a damage appraiser. Using the latest advances in image processing and deep learning algorithms, our multi-model approach to damage classification and instance segmentation ensures image quality and draws a line around damages within seconds, allowing users to see what AI sees. This new intelligent estimating tool allows damage appraisers to change damage types or simply remove damages with the click of a button. If other adjustments are needed, our 3D graphical tool allows users to easily select additional parts or operations. Once the estimate is sent and approved by the insurance company, the body shop is able to start the repair and order parts quicker in the process. With the power of visual intelligence, Capta Estimating will transform the way you work. Solera's Capta Estimating. The future of claims is now.
Thank you for watching. I just want to go back now and share a couple of important learnings on how to improve the accuracy of AI. It's not surprising that picture quality plays a role in the process. Too bright or too dark, too close or too far. Without guidance, the untrained user, and in particular the driver, will not know what good photos for claims look like. For example, when comparing results from projects where users were guided to take photos, we have achieved 10% more accurate results than on those without guidance. Also, in Asirom, Romania, which is part of the VIG group and one of our pioneer customers, they have achieved 82% customer response rates after they've implemented our technology. Investing in guided image capture is a great move. It will safeguard performance and the adoption of services by customers. We also learned that understanding the vehicle's DNA and how they are repaired really matters when it comes to AI estimating. For example, damage to a fender in different positions may result in additional 15 operations and ultimately increase repair time by 2.5 times. In this other example, repairing an aluminium or a steel fender for the same ODTT model built just 1 year apart results in 50% difference in repair. And that's exactly what we're doing for a top insurer client in Poland. With 500,000 motor claims every year, PZU wanted to standardize the estimating work done by their 400 assessors, remove subjectivity from estimating, and pave the way for a more automated process. To measure success, they defined a repairability index for a given parts basket and asked their assessors to use AI estimating for light to medium damage cases. Since the launch of AI estimating last summer, PZU have observed an improvement from 17 to 24% in the index, suggesting that they are not only making assessors more productive, but also reducing repair costs by repairing more parts, and not to mention the carbon footprint reductions associated with that, as more insurers commit to sustainability goals. Before we close the presentation, I want to share the status of our program and how we're rolling out AI estimating across the globe. Last year, we launched the technology in 13 countries and have closed over 20 customer contracts. But we won't stop there. We have over 40 pilot projects in progress, and we plan to roll out AI in another 11 new countries in 2022, including the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Egypt, Tunisia, and Morocco. And to conclude, I just wanted to leave you with a summary of the potential benefits of AI influence. As you have seen today with triage, estimating, and the review use cases, AI is ready to remove touch points for a meaningful share of claims. It also enables your staff to bring the human touch where it matters, allowing loss adjusters and claims handlers to focus on the complex cases, and ultimately in improving customer service. Thank you very much for joining this presentation. Please take the time to visit our stand and meet my colleagues at the show. Have a great day and goodbye.
Thank you, Marcos, for that presentation. For our next presentation, I would like to invite on stage Ahmed Isa, CEO of Moturi. Ahmed Isa is CEO of Moturi and Executive Director of Safe City Group. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science from Cairo University and has received his executive education from a number of international institutions, including the American University and Harvard Business School. Following extensive experience in software systems engineering and product development, Ahmed is overseeing a significant number of large-scale smart city and public safety solutions in the UAE and across the region. He successfully directed nationwide smart city projects, including big projects with UAE insurance companies and emergency command and control center implementations with many regional governmental entities. Mr. Ahmed Isa.
Good morning, everyone. So today, the presentation, we are talking more about the motor insurance fraud and the role of technology to overcome such challenges. Okay, so our agenda today will focus more about UAE motor insurance market overview. So we'll give you some statistics about the current or the facts of the statistics of the UAE market for the motor insurance sector. And also then we will talk more about the fraud statistics and it's a challenge worldwide and how it's recognized numbers in the other countries rather than UAE. Then we will talk more about Moturi and how Moturi is focusing to solve such a problem and tackling this problem and help the insurance company to avoid any losses coming from such fraud. Finally, we'll talk more about Moturi service in the live demo, and they'll give you some example how Moturi services is helping the company practically in utilizing their data and provide them with risk scoring services which help them to mitigate this risk and the challenge. Okay, before going to the fraud, I need to talk more about who's Moturi and what we are doing. So Moturi is a technology company. We focus more in the digital transformation for the motor insurance sector. So we are mainly focusing in the motor insurance sector. So we are a UAE company. We are working in UAE more than 10 years now. We started with accident reconstruction, which is specifying who's faulty, who's not faulty for specific simple accident, and also working with fatal accident with the ambulance. So our basic knowledge coming from the technology and working with the insurance company, starting from the accident itself until we full digital transformation for the full service for the vehicle repair. So we started in UAE, then alhamdulillah we expanded to work in Egypt. We have a big announcement in Moturi in Egypt and with a cooperation with a big entities there in Egypt, and we alhamdulillah we signed with one of the biggest insurance company in Egypt for digital transformation for the motor sector. Then recently, alhamdulillah, we started also with Oman with a big cooperation there. Okay, I'm going to explain more about some facts and the market statistics inside UAE, just to give you some insights about the market sector in UAE and what is exactly the statistics about the premium only for motor sector. So here in UAE, we are talking about 3.4 million policy per year. This is the average policy if we are talking about last 3 years. The average premium for the comprehensive policy, we are talking about 2,500 dirham per comprehensive policy. And if we are talking about the TPL policy, we are talking about 950 for the TPL policy. Definitely, this is a recognized number, but all of us know that even for the TPL, we can find a lot of policies below 300 even in such situations. So, but if you see this chart, which is talking about the gross earned premium, you will notice the loss inside the premium starting from 2018. We started with 7.1 billion dirham for the premium, gross premium. And the net premium, 3.7 premium, 3.7 billion premium UAE for 2019. And if you go to 2020, you will find how impact the pandemic for the premium value. So it's decreased for 5.6 billion dirham for during the pandemic. But recently and last year, it started recovered a bit. So we increased like 5.8 billion dirham in last year. So we are expecting, inshallah, this year, 2022, it will be increased a bit. So the market to be recovered. Because as you see, the number of policies is the same. We are talking about 3.4 million policy. However, the premium is vary between the number which you are seeing here in the screen. If you go to the other side of the picture, which is related to the gross incurred, you will find it also. We are talking about starting from 2018. We are talking about 4.7 billion for the claim and the cost for each insurance company. And it's a bit decreased, but it's not significantly decreased. But we are talking about 2020 during the pandemic. It's decreased to 2.9 billion dirham. However, it's a bit increased in 2091. Okay, now we talked about the facts and some statistics inside UAE market. What about the fraud worldwide? We selected some of the countries which is already recognized this type of fraud through the technology, through some cooperation between the government and the private sector. So if you're talking about the fraud as a concept, the fraud, all of us know that the fraud is the most important obstacle and constraint and the challenge come in the insurance sector. So we are talking about average, which is very best case scenario, 7% to 10% fraud loss from the premium. It's recognized as a fraud, and these are statistics worldwide. The fraud leads to make a higher premium. So once the insurance company cannot calculate the specific risk and cannot mitigate the risk, they are required them to increase the premium. So actually, the good customer who is paying the price for such a fraud. And this is giving you some insights about the importance of having a technology to tackle such a problem inside the market. It's a big challenge also in the technology part because it's required some cooperation between the stakeholder to make a solution and to automate the process of having the fraud. This is a big challenge inside the technology, and this is a fact all of us know. Here I will talk more about what is a fraud type. So if we go deeply about the fraud, there is a different type of fraud. Starting from a staging accident, which is intentionally someone causing an accident. This is a type of fraud. The other type of fraud it's called soft fraud, which is a claim submission for a financial benefit. Someone having a claim just to get a total loss returned cash, so he getting some financial benefit from such accident or claims. This is another type of fraud. There is different type of fraud called past posting, which is mean someone report an accident before issuing the policy. So this is a problem actually and the underwriting process in the inspection for the vehicle. Another type of fraud called the application fraud, which mispresent or fail to disclose information at the time of issuing the fraud. Also, contravent accident, which is report and damage, not in this accident, maybe all damage. And the other one, inflated damage, which is coming from the workshop part or from agency part, which is inflating the estimate of repair rather than the actual cost. These are some international KPIs about the fraud. If you are talking about the US, so it's reported $40 billion in the insurance fraud. 29 billion from this amount only is specified for the motor fraud. In UK, it's reporting insurance fraud case every 5 minutes with a total $1 billion increasing the premium to $50 for each fraud. And this some statistics giving you the importance of how this problem is really tackling the market and how we can solve the problem from our point of view, from the technology point of view, with the cooperation with the insurance company. Now, if you go to about Singapore, so Singapore in 2018 also recognized 20% of the insurance claim it's under fraud cases. In KSA, because it's a near country, we're talking about $500 million also in the fraud cases. And I have another statistics in South Korea. So we are talking about it's 10% increase from the fraud incident or the fraud cases per year. So if we are talking about 2018, it's reported 79,000 fraud cases reported inside the country, and it's increasing until 2020. We are talking about 98,000 cases for the fraud cases. 10,000 of this fraud cases intentionally claims. Back to UAE, we are expecting there is no recognized number exactly how much is the fraud inside UAE. But if you are talking about giving the average percentage of the fraud from 7 to 10%, so we are talking about by this year, by last year, 2020, we are talking about more than $500 million dirham only lost in the fraud cases, which will give you some insight about also the average policy premium. So we are now talking in last year, the average policy premium in it's 1,600 dirham. Here it's a good chart just to give you some insights about the premium per capita. So as you see here, it's the premium for the UAE, it's much higher than the international premium, which will give you also insights that how important in UAE to start tackling such a fraud and reduce the risk to provide better experience for the customers. I will go now more about the technology and how we are in Motory helping the insurance company to reduce the fraud and tackling such a challenge. Motory, we are providing a service. The objective of this service to automatically detect the fraud and giving a transparency between the whole stakeholders. We are talking about stakeholders, maybe the recovery claim between two insurance company. So it's very important also between the insurance company to cooperate to detect such a fraud. And also we are talking about increasing the awareness and making stability in the prices specifically for the premium, and also having a guideline and the pricing table to give the insurance, the vehicle owner, some insight and accurate fair value for the premium price. The technology here, we are talking about big data analysis. We are talking about AI and machine learning, and also automation integration. So it's very important to utilize the data for the insurance company for the historical records. So a lot of insurance companies now had a huge number of records inside database, which is recognized a lot of historical records for a specific vehicle, for a specific driver or owner, and also accident and the claim. So utilizing this data by using artificial intelligence tool and big data analysis tool to be able to capture a lot of insights from this data, will guide the user of the insurance company how he can react against any potential fraud coming. Also, the automation here is very important. We are not talking about separate tool, regardless about the internal system. We are talking about fully integrated system between Motri and the insurance company core system to automate the process of the fraud detection. This will make the insurance company, giving them the opportunity to have a risk selection and risk scoring, and also early detect for any potential fraud and the claim transformation for the process of the claim. And this also will give the insurance company 360 view about their customer. Then it can identify who's the good customer, who's the bad customer, and upgrade their pricing model based on the criteria or the segment of the customer. Here's Motri, how Motri is implementing such services. So in Motri, we have a risk score engine and the integration hub. This integration hub immediately have a ready-made adapter, which is integrated with the core systems of the insurance company to help them to automate the process, and also providing the insurance company with AI and the machine learning technology to be able to forecast and learn from the historical records and giving them better knowledge, better score for their risk. Here is also, we are talking about, for example, for the machine learning, we are talking about automation the process even after the fraud. So we are not only recognizing that there is a high risk for the scoring, but we are also taking advantage of sending this case to the specific loss adjuster. With this loss adjuster, we investigate on the case and giving the system back if this fraud is really a fraud or it's a false fraud. So the system is learned from the input from the manual or from the expert as a loss adjuster. Also, our tool is building on historical records. So we have a lot of historical data related to the historical accident, the historical records for the specific driver, the historical record for a specific vehicle, for the claims, for the policy, all of this, it's tool and the input to our tool to be able to manipulate and correlate these events to be able to give the insurance company the better decision to detect the fraud and specify how much the risk score for this specific cases. This example about how Motri is working. So if you are talking about the left side, the insurance company core system, what's needed just to send immediately through the integration, some details about the quotation, this for the underwriter, just some information about the chassis number or the TCN number, the traffic number for the driver, and some insured, and automatically this will be giving as an input to the engine, which is immediately in the real time giving back the insurance company with the risk score for this specific case. And we can do the same in the claim process at the time of accident. So we are giving the insurance company back with the real-time advice with the risk scoring. And these are how we calculate the risk or the risk score for a specific incident. So here we have some categories for the risk score. So we are talking about from 0 to 25, for example, percent. This is recognized as a low risk score. Definitely, this number can be customized for each insurance company based on their use cases. And also, they can customize at which case this case should be reported to the loss adjuster to confirm if there is really a fraud case or it's false score, so the system can learn from the historical records. I will go deep inside the Motri services. So it's divided in two parts. So one part for the underwriter who is responsible to issuing the policy. So we are talking here in immediately after and the underwriter need to issue a new policy, he just will write the TCN number and the chassis number and the sum insured. And based on this data, the system will check the historical record for this specific vehicle, for this specific driver, and based on the intelligent and the business rule inside our engine, will give you immediately with the risk scoring for such a new policy. And after that, also the user can adjust the value. For example, for the underwriter, if he put another sum insured. For example, if there is a Mercedes vehicle, for example, and they need to make an insurance, sum insured like 100 dirham, in this case, the system will give you a specific risk scoring. So what if we change this sum insured? The system also will react with this is a new value which is giving to the system. After he is recognized the high risks, also the system is providing the insurance company with a detailed description, how we calculate this risk, and what is the parameters we used to calculate this risk, and what is the weighting engine which we used to calculate this specific number. I will give you some insight about the historical records for this driver, the historical record for this vehicle, and for this of all the claims for this vehicle. So we'll give some evidence and some proof for the insurance company how the system is calculating such fraud percentage. The same for the accident. So we have the capability, once there is an accident happen involved for this specific insurance company, for example, AXA, for example, Oman Insurance, once there is a specific accident happen for AXA or Oman, immediately I will give them the insight about there's an accident happen involved for your vehicle, which is under TPL or comprehensive policy, and this is the risk score associated for this accident. This will give the insurance company the ability to automate the process before even the insurance or the vehicle owner to start making a new claim or reporting a claim. Insurance company in advance proactively know all the whole details about the specific case, about the specific accident, and also the risk associated to the accident. As you see in the screen, it's automated. There is nothing manual at all. Once an accident happens in the street, immediately I will notify the insurance company, either through motor portal or through the integration hub inside their core system with this accident and what is the risk associated to this accident. The insurance company also can configure the risk scoring. If it's high risk, immediately send the request to the loss adjuster. And here we are integrating with many loss adjusters, which is subscribed to our platform to be able to receive such request. The loss adjuster will receive the full case related to the vehicle, to the accident, the historical records, and the risk which we are calculating as a motorist. And the insurance and the loss adjuster also will minimize the time of investigation, because also I giving him the opportunity to see the whole details and how we calculated this risk. Then the loss adjuster will be either confirm these fraud cases or reject this case, and this will be input for the machine learning engine for motoring. On the other side, also we can give the loss adjuster with another technology, with a video stream, so he is not required to go to a specific location to inspect the vehicle. By sending an SMS to the client or the workshop, he can open a live stream between the loss adjuster also and the vehicle owner or the loss adjuster or the workshop to inspect the vehicle, check exactly if there is any potential fraud, and he can decide in this case if he need to go physically and check the car, or he can be satisfied by only the live stream. And during the live stream session, he can capture a video, he can capture a picture. All of this will be a good proof while we are confirming this is a fraud case or not. The same tool we are giving to the underwriter as well at the time of issuing the policy. The underwriter, rather than going there or asking the customer to come or sending a fake picture about the vehicle, he can also use the live streaming feature as a pre-risk survey, send an SMS for the owner, and also the owner can open the link. Immediately, there is a session will be open between the underwriter and the vehicle owner to in the live streaming, opening the camera and they check everything related to the vehicle and make the full inspection and they make the report. And based on this report, it's to protect the company for any fault, accident, and any other problem in the vehicle is not recognized based on whatever input coming from the vehicle owner. And this will protect the insurance company a lot from this type of fraud as well. This is also live streaming feature. Finally, this is a dashboard. This dashboard we are giving to the executives just to give them some insights about number of transactions recognized, either it's underwriting or it's a claim, and will give them also what is the performance of our engine as a motory. So I giving the insurance company some insights about, okay, this number of transactions which is processed from our side, and this is the recognized high risk, and this is the recognized fraud cases after the input of the loss adjuster. This gives the insurance company the full transparency and visibility about what is the performance of our engine, if our engine really add a value for the insurance or not. This is very important also to give them some insight about the performance of their operation. Now I'm finished. I thank you for your listening, and I hope it was a useful presentation. Our team is here. We are welcome any insurance company to come and join us, and also it was a great opportunity to talk to you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed, for your presentation. We'll be taking a short networking break right now, 15 minutes. So if you'd like to go into the coffee and tea area, we'll be back here in the room at 12:10. So we'll see you then. Thank you.
Hello, Rajat. I can. Can you do it again? The test. Yeah. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. I will give you a message when it's all good to go. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Insuretech 2022. I'd just like to say I'm very impressed with the turnout today, and it really is a testament to the commitment that insurance companies have to wanting to digitalize in the middle of a pandemic for everybody to be here today. So very happy to be part of this event today. Okay, so now it's time to welcome our next speaker of the day, Rajat Sharma, Chief Revenue Officer of Insurmo. Rajat is based in Singapore and is responsible for driving the global Insurmo platform business. Prior to joining Tech, Rajat has been in various roles like product management, M&A, strategy and sales for HCL Technologies, managing regional portfolios, and has been with various early stage startups, building products and driving growth. Rajat holds an MBA degree from the Illinois Institute of Technology, Chicago, and Great Lakes Institute of Management, and a Bachelor of Technology in Computer Science Engineering from the IP University, India. Joining us online, correct? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much and good afternoon everyone. My name is Rajat and the topic today that I'm covering today is Insuretek. This global insurer. So that is our bread and butter. That is something that we've been doing for the last 21 years. So some of the largest insurance customers that we have is AIG, AXA, Chubb, you name it. And we work with some of the top names globally, multiple country rollouts. That is where we support them in terms of their core insurance technologies. In every country that we are present in, we work with at least three of the top five local general insurers as well, and life insurance companies as well. That is our spread in the insurance carrier space. We also work with a lot of traditional channels as well. So brokers, auto dealers, manufacturers. We also work with a lot of traditional channels as well. So brokers,
I can hear my own echo here.
auto dealers, manufacturers. front-end applications or back-end applications, you could create them yourself, right? So all those tools are available like in any major cloud platform, as you could see. And everything here is from an insurance perspective. Plus, we also have companies will need in order to thrive. So what exactly is middle office, and how is middle office actually solving this problem of three V's and hyperconnectivity? So essentially, it is nothing but if you imagine this as a motherboard which is enabling your computer, right? So this sits in between and powers every single component in the insurance tech space. So as I spoke, Insurmo comes in with already covered all ranges of customers. So we have startups, with like almost seed stage fundings who are creating some very pointed applications. We work with tens to $20 billion of GWP company that are, issuing premiums that every year. We work with them to, kind of enable all their core systems. We work with
Thank you, Mr. Sharma, for that presentation. Moving on, for our next presentation, I would like to invite not one, but two presenters on stage. Vaibhav Kashyap, co-founder and CEO of WellX.ai, and Tim Hardcastle, CEO of Instander. Vaibhav is an INSEAD MBA graduate with 10 years of experience in insurance, domain expertise in underwriting strategy and business development. He has worked in the UAE and the UK markets with international insurers, strategy consulting firms, and technology providers. Tim Hardcastle is the CEO and co-founder of Instander, the cloud-based insurance ecosystem that delivers unprecedented flexibility to design, distribute, and manage any type of insurance product on a global basis. Please come up to the stage.
Testing. I may as well start talking because we're waiting for the technology. Where are we? Good morning, good afternoon. Tim Hardcastle, CEO, co-founder of Instander. I'm delighted to be here. We're with our partner, WellXI, and Vaibhav. He'll be talking today.
Hello, everybody.
Part of my talk was going to be introducing or signaling the fact that we're at the dawn of a new era in technology. And sometimes you have to wait a little bit longer for the dawn to arrive, as we're now seeing with the hardware that we're trying to get working. Software generally is not so problematic. We don't have as many devices to interact with. But I wanted to talk about the dawn of a new era. Whilst we've set up here in Dubai with our partners, they're very well established. I'm relatively new to Dubai, and what's fascinated me is the way that Dubai, United Arab Emirates, is pioneering the way to the future. The investment that's been made in the city, the way that you're talking about how you'd like to conduct business. I'm based in London, and whilst it proclaims to have a very rich heritage in insurance, for those of you that know, insurance is sometimes seen as being started in London with Lloyd's of London. It's a market of probably 115, 120 billion dirham, Lloyd's of London. But until the pandemic, it wasn't digital. The brokers would turn up to Lloyd's of London with big folders of information, risk information, and they would talk to the underwriters about insuring complicated assets at least, but it was never digital. So what I love about what I'm seeing here in Dubai is the way that you're thinking about the future, the next 50. You're talking about accelerating, jumping past old ways of doing things. And I'm very excited to be part of the relationship with Vibab, because what you'll hopefully see when we can get the technology working is a new proposition that's going into the market here. And when we think about bringing new propositions to the market, insurance is not best seen as a very innovative, progressive industry. It's an essential industry. It's providing health insurance, car insurance, things that are essential to everyone's daily existence, but it's not the most progressive. So I'm excited that here in Dubai, we have Vibab and his team launching a new product, which is a very exciting new proposition. And I'm going to let Vibab talk about it while we're waiting still for the technology.
Thank you so much, Tim. I think when we set off to create WellX AI, the idea was that we want to move away from insurance being a rainy day product to it being an everyday product. If you think about the life cycle of insurance, there's 2 times where a customer interacts with the insurance provider. It's when they make a purchase, so they're losing some money, they're giving it away. That doesn't necessarily have positive feelings associated with it. And the second time is when they make a claim. Oh, there we go. The second time is when they make a claim. And we're trying to change that. We're trying to be an everyday product that adds value to the customer's life on a daily basis. So we want to talk about insurance being hyper-personalized and what that means in the context of insurance. So if you look at our daily lives today, all customers, as consumers of technology, we're all already living hyper-personalized lives. Netflix, for example, recommends the right kind of content that an individual wants to watch, and that's their main USP. Spotify does the same with music, and you can't possibly talk about a product near your phone without getting bombarded with advertisements about that product. Again, all media, all technology hyper-personalizes the experiences that we currently have as consumers. So what would that mean from an insurance standpoint? What if you imagine a person wakes up having had a very restful night of sleep? Now, being rested is good from a health insurance perspective because that improves your health. And their phone pings you and says, hey, well done. You've slept really well. This is a good thing you've done for yourself and you've done for the insurance company. And then as they drive to work, they get a bunch of texts, calls, maybe from their boss, and they choose to ignore that. Because of course you're driving, so you shouldn't be looking at your phone. And then they get rewarded for doing that, because that's a healthy behavior from a risk perspective. And perhaps finally they end up at the airport because they're going for a trip or for a meeting or a business trip. And their phone knows that they're at the airport because our phones always know where we are. And it says, hey, do you want to start or activate your travel insurance policy? So these are just some potential use cases of what hyper-personalization can mean from an insurance context. Now, all this technology exists. Our phones are very advanced, and they continue to get more and more advanced. But the insurance infrastructure needs to be capable of interacting with this technology to deliver hyper-personalized experiences. And that's where Tim and Instander come in to change the game.
I said that we were at the dawn of a new era, but for those of you that have been in the insurance market for a while, there is no core insurance platform that has been designed and developed in the last few years that is easy to implement, easy to change, and doesn't cost you millions of dirham to do it. Instander's different. We designed the platform to be simple because this is the kind of technology that is needed today to meet the demands of hyper-personalization. Your customers are not standing still. They've got busy lives. They want to progress. They need to be fulfilled with propositions like WellXI, and the technology behind that has to be has to be simple, cost-effective, and something that everybody can use. So we are the world's first no-code core insurance platform that sits behind and provides this kind of technology that allows you to make change in minutes. And you only pay as you go. That's what SaaS is. It's not one of these old platforms that's been moved into the cloud and claims to be modern. You see a lot of those. That's in English, we would say lipstick on a pig. It's a kind of a digital lipstick on something that is very ugly. What we need and what is needed for the proposition today are SaaS, no-code platforms that allow you to get to market quickly to meet the demands of the consumer. And it's got to be end-to-end. You can't just do the front end. You have to have the processing all the way through, the customer service, and these end-to-end experience has to be seamless and digital.
So just want to move on to talking about what the WellX ambition is. When we set off to create WellX, we wanted to create a product that builds healthy communities, that prioritizes prevention, that reduces healthcare spend at a national level, and brings about real change. How we do this, and we've heard about this a lot today, about driving customer engagement. And we also talked about what kind of flexibility a platform needs to give in order to test and learn. And that's why we decided to partner with Instander, because it gave us a scalable model. It gave us a platform that we can test and learn with that's low cost. And from a startup perspective, we didn't want to invest huge sums of money from the beginning and then be faced with a product that doesn't work in the future. That's what Instander gave us. And it also allows us to move to the hyper-personalization perspective of easily integrating with various data sources. I can do this. By the way, I built it all by myself. I have no tech background. I built our end-to-end digital journey all by myself, which is something you could only do with a product like Instander.
Did you need your MBA for that or not?
No, the MBA didn't play any part in that.
Just checking. So just a very brief recap on a case study that we've done. Instander is very much designed from the ground up to be about speed and agility. Once you've laid your foundations in technology terms from an architectural standpoint, no matter what the software vendors will tell you, you cannot change it, right? So you have to look at technology and make sure it's designed for purpose. Our purpose is simple, fast, and efficient ways to get to market, process that business. Case study here, we have one of the world's leading health insurance providers. It has over 20 million customers globally. It wanted to get to market within months with a new proposition, which was about selling health insurance combined with an Apple Watch, and then if you behave well, your health insurance premium goes down. We delivered it within months, integrating a seamless customer experience, and then a payment mechanism at the back end that allows that watch to be funded on a monthly premium. Very smart, very slick, and we're looking forward to seeing the fruits of this come out in the market in the near future. From a little bit more about Instander, I know you've already heard about it, but Instander is very much designed for all distribution channels. Whether you want to go direct, by a broker, group, business to consumer, it allows you to go through all channels. And what we say, and this is where WellXI is a great example, because we work with many, many startups. We also work with many of the big carriers globally, is the startups are often the place where a lot of innovation happens, but the carriers would love to do that too. They just need a vehicle, a tool, a technology platform that allows them to experiment, to explore, to innovate. And that's exactly what Instander allows you to do, and with the middle and back office all included. So my background, I used to be the CIO of a global insurance company called Hiscox, based in London. We had London market insurance, direct-to-consumer, broker, reinsurance in Bermuda. I founded the company Instander because I was deeply, deeply frustrated with the technology that was available for that business. We built the business over the last 10 years, and we soft-launched the first version in 2015. There's a whole host of insurance experts. We're in 18 countries. We have around 80 clients. And we've grown more in the last 2 years than the previous 3 because insurance does take a little while to get going in terms of believing that technology can do the purpose. And we're delighted to be here with WellXI, and we're looking forward to seeing you on the stand outside. So I do hope I can meet many of you. Thank you. Sorry, one more slide. I forgot about this one. It's quite important. These are the clients that we work with. We have partners, Microsoft. Microsoft, by the way, I like to think that we are very much in concert with them. They talk about citizen developer. I don't know whether you've heard this concept. If you go on the Microsoft Azure marketplace, any technology is available for anyone to use. That's exactly how Instander is organized. It allows you to become a coder without having to worry about coding. And so, as I said, we've got 80 clients, 18 countries, and we're looking forward to seeing you. Thanks.
And just to add to that, Tim, I think from the UAE context, Instander is based on Azure, which means the data never leaves the UAE, and so it's all compliant with insurance authority, etc. So then a little bit more about the actual offering of WellX AI. We are providing a health insurance proposition that is extremely personalized to the individual. We have partners like Whoop, which is an advanced variables technology company from the US, a homegrown technology provider, Steppy, that does customer engagement. They ran the 30-30 challenge. Many of you would have participated in that. And we continue to grow the ecosystem. We're a wellness-based health insurance proposition, which means that we reward customers for healthy behavior. We provide cash back for hitting step goals. We provide variables where individuals pay upfront, but they can get the cost of the variable reimbursed by hitting certain health goals. And the whole point is to bring behavioral change. As we incentivize customers to take on more healthy behaviors, we anticipate that the cost of claims will drop, and therefore the premiums are more tied to the individual and their specific health, and not just based on a 30-year-old being male versus a 40-year-old female. It has to be to the individual, as that's what we've come to expect from the rest of our lives. And lastly, I mean, we've touched upon this throughout the presentation, but we want to be a 24-hour, every day of the week product, which means we have to engage with our customers on a day-to-day basis. We've been believed in and blessed with the product provided by the Binational Insurance Company. So that's something that we are very proud of, and we are really grateful for the support. Customers can get up to 2 months of premium cashback by behaving in healthy behavior. So it's a really solid value proposition, and the best part is the cost is exactly the same as what is present in the market. So the belief comes from, let's get people healthier, let's get them engaged, let's get them going towards something that's a new norm, and the claims and the prevention of sickness will all ensue. And of course, it fits in with the UAE's national agenda of creating a healthier UAE. And frankly, there are very few other countries in the world where a product like this can fit in with the national agenda and grow to a much larger scale and have an impact on the entire country. So that's our ambition. Instander's enabling it, and we hope that you'll come to experience it soon enough.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your presentation. That was very interesting. Inviting our next speakers onto the stage, please welcome Mr. Bojidar Ibrishimov, I practiced that, Commercial Director of Ablera, and Svilena Stoyanova, Commercial Director of Ablera as well. Bojidar is the Commercial Director of Ablera, responsible for building new strategic opportunities and partnerships and developing the client base across multiple regions. He is a seasoned financial services industry professional with extensive background leading successful projects related to portfolio optimization, derivatives pricing, risk management consulting for tier 1 investment banks and asset managers. At Ablera, Bajidar and his team are dedicated to help insurance companies successfully navigate their digital transformation journey, simplifying complexities often associated with the process. Ms. Villena is working as the commercial director at Ablera. She is responsible for driving the company's business and increasing its revenue, identifying and developing new business opportunities, also leads sales and client relationship management. She's also adept in tracking new markets and recommending new products and services. Please join us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Apologies for these technical difficulties, but this is it with hardware. Thank you very much for your attention. It's a pleasure to be here again. I would like to thank the organizers. Also, it's a pleasure to share the stage with so many great professionals from the community. Most of you probably already heard about Ablera, but for the rest, I would like to give a brief introduction of who we are and what we do. Ablera is a European Insuretek, and ever since its foundation in 2018, we've been fully focused on developing cutting-edge technologies for insurance in the attempt to solving some of the most complex problems in industry. During the last few years, we were consulted by some of the world's top analysts. We performed extensive market research on our own and read hundreds of industry reports. And what we found is that the majority of the problems that the modern insurers face stem from their inability to effectively respond to dynamic market situations, and also to utilize the accumulated big data in their systems, and to communicate with their customers effectively, understanding their needs. These are some of the issues we are trying to solve. In order to solve these problems, companies require the use of innovative solutions based on artificial intelligence, machine learning, and IoT. However, most of the core insurance systems are unable to accommodate those technologies. And we believe this is the reason behind the recent wave we see towards digital transformation and modernization of legacy environments. Nowadays, more of the core systems are based on the so-called service-oriented architectures. And although componentized, they still cannot accommodate these technologies and do not deliver the necessary scalability and agility that the modern business requires. And to address this need, we can see that these systems are increasingly being transformed into ecosystems based on different solutions from different vendors working together through API connectivity, microservices architecture, and cloud. In fact, those structures are very appealing for insurance as they can easily accommodate the priorities in their digitalization roadmaps, as well as to offer greater control, better predictability and scalability. And considering all these trends we see in the market, considering the needs of the modern insurer and understanding the customer, backed by nearly 30 years of experience in insurance software, we created our product Certica. Certica is a suite of products that work together to provide insurance companies with the tool to optimize their business processes and helps them simplify complexities of digital transformation. Our products, the products within the Certica suite are designed to target those aspects of the system that are concerned directly with the end client. Understanding their risk profile, offering them the right products, the communication, and the overall experience of the customer. In fact, those are the areas of the system that make effective use of artificial intelligence. And we believe that being able to analyze and interpret data facilitate drawing in-depth conclusions on the client profile, which gives the company opportunity for better segmentation and superior personalization, which obviously results in better customer experience, growth of gross written premiums, and sufficient reduction of operational costs. So these are the four main components of our Certica suite. We have our intelligent virtual assistant, facilitating the communication of both clients and employees with the company and its systems. We have analytics module that transforms pricing and rating processes within the insurance company. We have a vision module for OCRing, extracting the relevant information for various types of standard documents. And we have our intelligent policy administration system library that is facilitating the capabilities of AI. And my colleague Svilena will tell you more about it and will demonstrate some of its functionalities.
Hello from me as well. Okay, so based on all this research, the market situation and the recommendations of the leading analysts, we developed IPAO, our cloud-native modern policy administration system that is based on microservices. It can be used as a standalone solution, or it can be used as an acceleration layer link over any existing path, and thus transforming the old legacy into modern ecosystem for the future. We consider that there are two elements that are very important for this new kind of systems for today. One of them is a powerful BPMN engine, and the other one is AI-based product configurator. And I'll take a minute to explain why we think that those two components are so important. You know that the BPMN engine exists for a long time, but every process in IPAO, every step of the business processes is followed by this BPMN engine. That way, it manages the company's business rules. It also improves the business agility of the company and makes optimization where it needs to be done. And least, actually, it assesses the employee workload and optimization of the human resources and costs. Because what the insurance company wants today, they want to sell more and to optimize the processes and cost as well. Here, I'll show you, just a moment, our system. Okay. If I am an employee of the system, this is the IPAO user interface. You can see here two boxes, unassigned and assigned. If I'm an employee of the system, I can see my tasks for today. But also my team leader will have a report generated from the system to know what is my workload for today, what I have done, what every employee of the company have done. And then that things can cause optimization and also not overloading of one people instead of the others. I'll come back to the second component that I told you. And this is the AI-based product configurator. And here probably you ask what's the problem with the traditional ones. Here I summarized some differences between both of them, and I'll start with the traditional one. Usually, this kind of solutions are heavy and complicated, and they need a lot of IT specialized staff to work with. And nowadays, you know that there are a lot of devices that we even talked on the stage earlier, something like IoT devices, telematic-based data, behavioral data for the customers, super personalization, as we heard here. And actually, the traditional product configurators cannot capture and interpret that kind of data. So they cannot support the sales anymore, even the most powerful one. And even if some of them maintain such a functionality, it is very sophisticated for them and requires a lot of work, something like 15 man days, as I summarized here, and also requires a lot of ongoing support and changes, and it's error-prone because it's made from human. On the contrary, the AI-based product configurators, they maintain actually the fully automated rating and offering. And they give an opportunity for dynamic offering and premiums that are based on behavioral data. This is very important for the market today. And if I can summarize all of this text here, we accelerate the online sales, which is a goal for every insurance company today. We also the customers has better experience, and we also give the sales rep, because I'm coming from the sales and I know how the work is, to have a very good tool to have the best offers for each customer. So this is particularly the difference between the traditional and AI-based. We have such a recommendation engine that is coming rule-based calculation together with ML-based personalized adjustment. And we are going in online tailor-made offers. And to demonstrate to that, I'll go again in our system, and I'll make here a quick quote. I'll put the data of the car. You know, this is some random data. Let's say here. The production, everything here is random in order to put the car details. But I will also put some behavioral data. For example, 3 people will drive that car, as well as I have 15 years of experience like a driver. And this car will be fancy, about 50,000 kilometers per year. When I get the quote that is coming through a recommendation engine and Abacus pricing and rating engines, you see here that I have some predefined covers. In the traditional product configurators, this kind of covers should be, let's say, assist from an employee of the company or any customer to add them, and in order to get an offer. Here they're predefined based on my social status, my behavioral data, the things that I'm putting into the information that they want from me. And please remember that, because my colleague Božidar in a while will make a demonstration through other channel, and you see here that mostly probably his data will be different from mine, and there will be another offering for him. I'll come back to the presentation because we have some more, sorry. Sorry, what? I'm sorry. So we also pay some attention on analytics part, pricing and rating. We combine the pricing and rating processes, which are one of the most complex processes in the insurance business, into one product that is called Abacus. Actually, it is Celent awarded and recognized by them as one of the most innovative products. We combine pricing and rating, adding machine learning algorithms for the actuarial work, and also for the rating, we achieved about 100% IT independence when implementing new prices. But I will tell you some results. Today we came with the results and with the clients. This is our client. He has a very rich database, and also he managed to achieve this result only for 6 months. He managed to achieve both increasing in the net profit of the company, depending on the business line, about 4.77%. This is for motor. And also increased number of policies, about 3.86%. And this keeps about 60% of the actuarial effort in the company. Also, for the rating, as I told you, it's about 100% of independence when you're implementing new prices. No coding and no configuration. I will show you here a random tariff from the system. It's a live system, actually, from our client. And you can see when the last tariff is being completed and deployed. It's not deployed yet, actually, because it's on the demo purposes. But you can see here some of the steps that have to be taken into consideration when adding new prices. And these steps are taken from different employees of the company. But at the end, when the actuarial work is ready and the tariffs are going over there, they can be deployed instantly and can be used instead of coding of 15 days, they can be used instantly of every channel of the company. So we also take into consideration this IoT and other devices that are interpreting and capturing the data, the behavioral data of people, and thus they're enriching the data set of the insurance company, and at the same time, they assess better the customers by their risk profile. And there is one element missing here, the communication between the insurance customer and the company. And we're doing this through our virtual assistant. So my colleague Božidar now has prepared for you one advanced customer journey. So enjoy it.
Thank you very much, Svilena. We used our in-depth understanding of insurance business process and decades of experience in this field to create multi-country, multilingual, powerful, intelligent virtual assistant with state-of-the-art cognitive capabilities. It's based on IBM Watson Assistant platform and is intended to facilitate the communication of both clients and employees with the customer, with the insurance company and its systems. There's a lot being said about virtual assistants and intelligent chatbots and their practical application. And in order to draw the line between this and to demonstrate what we've managed to achieve during the last few years, we would like to showcase this with some real-world practical examples with real-world client interactions. So the first thing I'm going to demonstrate is how a client is able to receive an advisory from the company without contacting a call center. So for this reason, I'm going to connect my phone and demonstrate this self-service feature. It may sound a bit elementary as consulting. It's a question and answer, and it can be performed even by, 1 second, I'm connecting my phone, okay. It can be performed even by more simpler solutions that match predefined questions with predefined answers. It's very convenient, but usually these solutions drive the conversation into a direction that may significantly deviate with what the client initially intended to achieve. So let me check why I cannot connect my phone screen. I'll escape the presentation mode. Probably this would be the reason. No. Share. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to self-service myself as a client and demonstrate what I'm talking about. So I'm a new client and I want to know what kind of documents do I need to have. Do I need to provide to get an offer? What we demonstrate now is a more advanced feature that the more advanced solution have, and this is the NLP capability. This is opening the door for the customers to express themselves the way they like, without following any stringent rules, without any procedures, or without any forms. So, as you can see, our solution better recognized the intent behind this utterance. The client wanted to obtain this information, and he managed to obtain it through the virtual assistant without calling or waiting on a line or visiting the office. Of course, this doesn't sound like a big deal. It doesn't provide so much change in the customer's service, and it doesn't provide a lot of cost optimization and cost savings for the companies. And in order to provide these more capabilities, you need to go beyond the standard question and answer bot with predefined rules. You need to have your solutions transactional, because usually when clients communicates with a company through solutions like this, they are not aware of their limitations. They usually try to achieve more where they will be left disappointed. And in order to address this, we need to make the solution transactional. And I'll connect again because for some reason I dropped out, to demonstrate how this solution can be transactional. I will continue the same conversation as a client, and I will obtain a quotation and purchase a policy. So I'll go like that. I've just bought a new car, and I need a quotation. Here, BET offers me the 3 types of coverages that we use in our policy administration system. So I'll go for recommended coverage. So here, I'm demonstrating how this solution is transactional with, first, with the recommendation engine. I'll explain in a bit. And secondly, with the OCR solution that extract information from the document. So I don't need to type it in. So I confirm this extracted information. If anything is not the way it is, I can manually change it. So secondly, I need to provide vehicle registration to obtain some more data for the offer. Okay, I confirm this as well.
Actually,
and a final one, and this is the front page of the vehicle registration, and it is this one.
Actually, this data is compliant with GDPR because this is our colleague. So we have the we have the permission to use that kind of documents to demonstrate.
And also the solution doesn't save it anywhere. It just extracts the information and asks the confirmation. The picture isn't saved anywhere on the client, apart from the client's device. So I'm here asked about how many kilometers I pass for the year. It's about 10,000. I'm not really sure how much is it. And how many people will be driving the car, it's going to be just me. Saying 1. Here I need to authenticate myself somehow in order to be contact from the company. I'll say just a random email. And this should be enough information to obtain the offer from our recommendation engine. Our recommendation engine uses AI to deliver a bespoke offer specially tailored for the profile of this client. As you can see, I can see here the breakdown of the coverages and how much each of these would cost me. So I'm accepting this offer. And I'm prompted to continue with actually making the payment for this policy. So I'm confirming we are demonstrating here integration with PayPal, but it can be any other system. Also, the dialog window we are using, it's currently demonstrating through Messenger, but it can be any other. WhatsApp, Viber, Telegram, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to Sheikh Rashid Road, then. And this should be enough information for now to
go to the most complicated part of the journey.
So, okay, I'll leave here this for now, and to demonstrate that it's not just some mumbo-jumbo wishful thinking.
The other one, the other tab.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, here we have received in the system this task, so the client can go, the employee can go and approve this quotation. And we need two-factor approval here. So the manager of the employee will need to review his work to see if it's accurate. We can see if this is the person, this is the car. So we're going to approve this.
And we issued the policy, actually.
We issued the policy, and it's live now, active in our systems. So we demonstrated how a client can self-service himself from his sofa without making the trip to the insurance office, without waiting on a call center line, or without filling out any forms, just expressing himself really, and he was serviced from the comfort of his home sofa. But we can do some other operations as well, because BET is not only intended to serve the end client, it's intended to serve also the employees of the company. So here, I can demonstrate how an employee can make annex to this person without actually going to the system, extracting information by himself. He's going just to instruct BET what needs to be done, and BET will do it. Add road assistance cover to the person we have just mentioned at, Ahmed, I think, at gmail.com from tomorrow. I'm saying what needs to be done, to whom, and from when.
This is the employee avatar. So that's the way the employees can work with the system.
As you can see, within seconds, BET found the insurance policy of this person and asked for confirmation to add this cover to this person. And everything was achieved in about seconds. So, I'm sorry, I'm running out of time, but just to end this process and to demonstrate the final stage of the customer journey for the claim, how a client can self-service himself and report a claim. So here I'm going to connect my phone again and do this final demonstration.
Actually, this is the most unpleasant for the customer time, because you're buying a policy, you're happy, but you're not happy when you have a claim. You're stressed. And
to deliver the ultimate customer service experience, NLP and transaction to be transactional, this is not enough. You need to to really understand the customer. And human conversation is not very straightforward. It's a very complex process. We oftentimes get distracted. We interrupt each other. We remember different things mid-conversation. So it's not a straightforward process. In order to deliver the ultimate customer experience and human-like feeling, you need to take all these conversational skills into account. So I will demonstrate these features through BET. I'm the same client, continuing the journey, and I want to report a stolen car. Can I expect some indemnity, let's say? Here I basically have two goals. I want to report my stolen car, and I also want to ask about what indemnity can I expect. So we break down these two utterances into separate intents and see which one is the most important one, the trigger of this conversation. I'm asked about authenticating myself. I think I was this guy, gmail.com, using the same authentication. So, I'm not really sure. It was probably 7:30 this morning. You can see the level of complexity of natural language processing we're using here. So, BET recognized the time. I'm confirming this. I'll say in front of my house, because I already set my address to the system. It should be able to retrieve this information from the system. And here, this is the address I provided. I'm confirming this to continue filing the claim. And when did I last saw the vehicle? It was about last night, probably last night, about 1:45, let's say.
Actually, we're showing you now a real-life conversation. That is, we just changed the names because BET is already implemented. So all of this is a real-life conversation with BET.
This is from our client in Europe, from Vienna Insurance. So this is a recording for a call center. We managed to pass through BET. So we are following exactly the procedures and the questions asked by the insurance company. And actually, these are real clients' utterances. So here, I'm instructed what I need to be done to finalize this process. And I say, okay, but what if I don't have the second key? It is with my sisters. And she is in Germany. What then? Okay. This is an example of disambiguation, a conversational feature. Having my second key in my sister has nothing to do with me filing the claim. But in order to provide a really dialogue feeling, we are able to handle this side question and return back to the initial topic to finalize the initial intent of the client. So here I'm given with the final instruction, and with this I managed to file my claim. So thank you very much for your attention.
And Sorry for the delay because we're a little bit running
Apologies.
out of time.
Just to give a quick remark for these solutions, because the customer journey is not the only part of it. What companies are really interested is the economic impact of the company's bottom line. And the recent Forrester study has shown that Watson-based personal assistant average payback period for the investment is less than 6 months. And the return on investment for these solutions for the first 3 years is above 340%. So the optimizational benefits are really practical, and we can see it in the company's bottom line. So thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed the presentations, and apologies for the technical issues.
Yeah. If you have any questions, we're here or outside, and sorry for the delay once more. Okay.
After the interesting presentations delivered, it's time to move to the next session that includes insightful and interesting discussions. A special thanks to our moderator, Ms. Meena Sahib, for her support. With increasing risk claims, insurance companies are taking effective measures to strengthen their foothold and provide a modest resolution to their claim issues. While the traditional method tends to be tricky, complicated, and unnecessarily overwhelming, it has become critical for the insurance providers to find a middle ground to provide an accurate yet breezy service to their customers. Studies reveal that digital-driven claims settlement process may improve customer satisfaction by as much as 20%, while reducing claim expenses by 25 to 30% by increasing efficiency. Through a panel discussion topic, digitalization in claims management, strategy, approach, and future developments, our respected panelists will ponder upon the current trends and opportunities in D&O claims, challenges and opportunities in the post-pandemic world, roadblocks and strategies, and effective tips to improve customer service experience. To moderate this session, I would like to invite Mr. Waleed Daniel Dib, CEO, Hala. Can we please have you on stage, sir? A round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen, for our moderator. Next, I would like to welcome our first panelist, Mr. Sridhar Suragoni, CIO, Oman Insurance. A loud applause, please, and a warm welcome. Next, I would like to welcome Mr. Paolo Ogno, Head of Claims, GIG Gulf. A round of applause, please. Let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Noor Shauki, CEO, Softtech Technologies. Next, I would like to welcome Mr. Jim Pittman, Regional Director, GRS. A round of applause, please. Finally, I would like to give a warm welcome to Mr. Mahir El Gailani, MD, Solera Inc. A round of applause, please. I request a moderator to kindly start the session.
Can you guys hear me? Sorry, yeah, there we go. How's everyone doing? I'm glad to host the panel today about digitization and claims. I'll leave myself to the end. I think we're got a really cool lineup of interesting panelists here today. To kind of shake things up a bit, and I know you guys have been listening to panels all day and a lot of presentations all day, we want to focus on digitization of claims, but I'm going to allow each person to introduce themselves by saying 5 things about themselves. This way we can really take your time into account and make sure that we can take the most out of this conversation. We can start with Sridhar.
Thank you, Walid. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sridhar Suragoni. I am the CIO of Oman Insurance. Been in the region for the last 3.5 years, but spent around 20 years in UK before coming here. Thank you.
Good I'm glad to be here with you today to have this exchange with such an interesting community. Thank you.
Great. Up next we have Noor.
Good afternoon. My name is Noor Shawi. I'm board member at Motori. I come from a technology background. I've been delivering technologies for the past 20 years. Co-founder and CEO of Soft Technologies Group. We work in the areas of public safety, national security. We do intelligent command and control centers. We do digital transformation projects across the region. And we're also very heavily engaged in motor insurance. And Softec is one of the co-founders of Motori, and I'm myself a board member over there. Pleasure to meet you.
And after that, we got Jim, a fellow loss adjuster.
Good afternoon, Jim Pittman, Regional Director at GRS. I've been a loss adjuster since 1987. I've also run an insurance company claims department, a fraud company. I've been involved in 2 startups. I have 2 twins. Oh, I have twins, sorry. I own 17 motorbikes.
Thank you.
And up next, we've got Maher.
Thank you. I am Maher Al-Ghailani. I'm coming from the software industry. I worked before in telecom companies like Telefonica in North Africa, and then in distribution, integration with leaders in cybersecurity, software, and cloud solutions. Today, since 3 years, I am with Solera, which is the leader worldwide of claim management and estimation. I was managing North Africa, and last year I'm coming here to Dubai to manage the MENA region plus Turkey. Thank you very much.
Cool, awesome. And just a brief introduction about myself. I used to know a bit of things about claims. I was a loss adjuster before. After that, I started Addenda, which is the precursor of our current company. Addenda was a loss adjusting, or sorry, it was a blockchain platform to reconcile payables and receivables. We've recently sold that to XA Group, which was announced just today, actually. More recently, I started Hala with my brother. We're about 30 people now, and we're trying to build the lemonade of the Middle East. We've got a few thousand customers. We're funded by Mubadala, and alhamdulillah, things are going quite good. But that's not what we're going to talk about. Today, we're going to talk about claims. So we're going to pick it up with Mr. Sridhar. From a technology perspective, you know, claims management has been traditionally a cumbersome process for insurance companies in MENA. What are the biggest challenges you foresee in digitizing high volume, low value, i.e., you know, motor, health, and travel insurance claims today?
Thank you, Ali. So the question is not about whether it's claims is cumbersome or insurance as a company used to be a cumbersome traditionally. See, the world has moved on. I mean, like every insurer has had their own challenges, whether you're in Middle East or in Europe or America. When it comes to claims, every insurer have followed the trend. What was the trend? Claims was something which was dealt as a bureaucratic process, paper-driven, hierarchical approvals, and also it was very laborious from a customer perspective. There were many reasons for that. One is technology availability in 90s, before 90s. Number 2, the investment they wanted to make in digitizing or automating, and also the kind of investments they have to make in that. So there were multiple factors which have delayed some of this digitization of claims across the industries and across the markets. If I have to speak specifically about MENA, when I joined Oman Insurance 3.5 years back, we did understand the pain the customers were going through in the settlement of motor claims, wherein it starts with a person who already has an incident. He has to reach out to a call center, he may have to send an email with the claims data, then it goes to a process where he don't even know what is happening. It can be in the back end, somebody from the claims department is trying to assess the problem. He may have to go to garage to check the estimate. He may have to come back with the photos, file them, upload them. It was a cumbersome process. It used to take 5 to 7 days for even a minor repair sometimes to even get it approved. So as with any other insurance company, our job is to look at how we can try to improvise that experience to customer. So that is what we have done, and I'm sure many insurers have done in the region. That is where the investment's coming. So we wanted to invest in this claims automation, not only for motor, but we wanted to build the building blocks which can be leveraged upon to address the claims across the ecosystem. We are a true customer composite. We have 4 business lines: life, medical, consumer, and commercial. So we have built a composable architecture on cloud, wherein whatever solution we put for digitizing the documents can be reused, leveraged across. Whatever automation we build with low-code platform can configure not only the motor claims, but also medical, commercial, whatever it is. And more importantly, the biggest challenge we see in this market is most of the insurers who are here for 40, 50 years, they have built a lot of legacy. So there is nothing called, I mean, you can try to repaint your car, but actually your engine should also be good enough. What I mean by that, there is no fun in creating a low-code, zero-code platform as a fancy platform which is customer-facing. But if your backend is not suitable to get integrated, then your investment would not give the returns what you want. So that was another challenge we have seen, wherein we have to ensure we invest in apification, integrate our core system, and give a real-time experience. So without going into details, whether it is high volume, low value, whether it is how you want to deal with the customer experience, whether it is how you want to improvise your entire claims experience to your customers, it all boils down to how you reimagine the customer journeys. So number one, don't waste your time in buying some fancy products. Number two, don't try to do the resizing and don't try to fit into your estate because you are obligated by your board or somebody else to deploy something which is half-baked. Number three, please do proper analysis with your other departments. Work with your team to reimagine the entire customer journey, putting yourself in the shoes and get the best out of. So we have already done the motor claims. Now we are working on other claims. I can tell you the experience had been phenomenal. For almost minor repairs with automation built in, with the integration built in, we have allowed the first notification of loss for customers to be done at the garage. And then minor repair up to a threshold is auto-approved then and there, not even required for a surveyor to go. And number three, even if it is major repair, surveyor was given the ability to connect to systems on the cloud and approve on the go. So these are all few things which we could do, and we have already seen significant improvement in the experience. And my suggestion would be, before you work on any customer journey improvisation, take into factor technology, people, and also your capability to serve the end customer without spoiling the experience.
That's awesome. I mean, a lot of what you're talking about here is there was too many cooks before, effectively, and you want to shrink that down to also reduce the human error that's available. And if I'm not mistaken, I think you guys were one of the first to deploy cloud or core systems or claims systems on the cloud. From that, piggybacking on that topic and going to Paolo, you know, Sridhar has talked about the challenges and talked about some of the approaches that Oman has taken over the past few years. In terms of AXA, what kind of technology stacks are you considering, AXA GIG, are you considering to efficiently centralize, audit, and trace data points across AXA GIG?
Thank you. This is an interesting question. Let me say something first. So I can see I'm from the audience today. I'm not the only one who started probably dealing with data in the last, not only century, but millennium, no? So things were a little bit different. So data were something were difficult to find. I remember it was, like, IT probably was the most powerful function in the company. You have to ask for data. It was always partial data that had to be extracted from monster system that costed a fortune, required machines that were incredible. I remember one summer we had to run to buy some AC coolers because otherwise we had an issue that all the servers with the claims data could have blast. So this is no more that era. No, today we have technologies available, and actually, if I can answer first with a vertical perspective of data management, is the duty of any company to try to make sense of what's the value chain, in this case in claims. We really have to put together all the data that are around claims. We have powerful tools, so no more rush for the AC, but we have the cloud today. So a very powerful tool we have worked quite hard to implement but change our life is the data lake. So data need no more to be extracted on a monthly basis because you need to have this data available if you really want to use this data. So I would say this is certainly the first step. You have to make sure that all data related to claims are within this process. That was not the case in the past. No? Normally you think about the claim system, but it's not only the claim system. You need to integrate data with other systems. I'm thinking about fraud that I'm sure we'll mention again, which require data also from your underwriting database. So it's a much more complex, probably data environment that require a strong centralization. As I said, with the data lake, so all data from transaction application are poured in the data lake and we can have access. No? Indeed, your question is about how we trace, centralize and audit, but it's not enough. The next question is how you exploit data, because today having all data real-time available allows you to use some new technology tools like, for example, Power BI is a tool that we use extensively to aggregate, slice, dice this data and generate trends that can tell us more about our own data, things that before we didn't see. And then there is, beyond this vertical, more selfish perspective as a company, a more horizontal perspective, which I think is interesting. The key question is, are our own data sufficient today or not? So probably the answer is not, because you really need, I guess we are here with a number of companies that are also partners in our everyday life. So why? Because we don't have any more old data. Probably there is a piece of information that does not lie with the insurer, lie within the market, and more Insuretech are exploiting this data or aggregating this data to make them available to insurers. So this is key, and is the other component in the question of how do you exchange data in this more horizontal ecosystem. I can make an example. I can see my colleague Samir Balci, which is our fraud manager, and our colleagues and partners now of Motori. This is something we made on fraud, for example. From an academic insurance standpoint, fraud is one of those topics that requires an exchange of data between different players in the market to be successfully tackled, no? Because we win all together. It's not a gain of a single insurer, no? So this is a successful example of how exploiting data horizontally and pulling the ecosystem. There would be many others, but I don't want to monopolize something.
No, that's fantastic. And I mean, it's a perfect segue to Motori with Noor here, talking about fraud, talking about identifying it. And can you tell us about how Motori's technology has sort of helped improve the policyholders' claims experience, whether it's with AXA or with other insurance companies?
Yeah, well, we will need to look at the real core value proposition that we need technology to help us with. So we've seen a lot of presentations today. So we were just talking about Motori and fraud detection. Ahmed Isa, our CEO, Motori, was talking about how to calculate risks, and tremendous opportunities and the benefits for the insurer. And we've seen also across the different presentations today and still for presentations to come how technologies can improve a lot of things, right? So there's the obvious improving customer experience, automating processes, reducing costs, optimizing all of these things that we're aware about. But I want to go a bit beyond that and highlight more the issue of customer retention. So if we look today at the landscape, it's very noisy. Yes, you have a lot of digital offerings, digital brokerages and aggregators and chatbots. You can issue policies within a few seconds, and so the market is being flooded and the consumers are being overwhelmed with advertisements and offers, and it's become very easy to switch. And then you have all these startups that come in with great ideas, young, fresh minds, many of them not even coming from the insurance sector. So they go in and they challenge the status quo, and they go in and they test new things and experiment with new ideas and completely try to disrupt everything that we've been used to for many years. So with that in mind, we need to start looking at technologies not as an enabler to grow or to do things better, but I think you need to look at it as critical for survival, and you need to look at it as absolutely essential for business continuity. And I think in order to do that, like you said, when you deploy the technology, you need to put the customer centricity at the core of the objective. Yeah, you're not deploying technology because you want to save costs, or because the CIO has a checklist that he needs to say, okay, I got this technology or all of this. No, you need to really look at how do you unlock value for your customers, not to sell to him, but to actually retain him, to keep him on board, which is becoming increasingly very difficult. Me as a consumer, I expect you to know what I want without giving me a headache, right? So I don't want anybody to call me. I don't want to fill out any surveys. You should be able to capture my data for my own benefit. And by capturing that data, you need to be able to know what I want, and you need to be able to give me a personalized experience without the headache, right? And when it comes to me consuming the service, if I just get one little glitch during that service, especially when it comes to the claims, that bothers me, that gets me out of my daily routine, that requires me, you know, to miss an hour of my work because I need to be somewhere or get an approval somewhere or make a phone call somewhere, or that requires me, you know, to spend some of my leisure time during that process, then I will switch very easily to another service provider. So this is the way you have to look at. The entire process needs to be very smooth. And we as consumers, not only in the insurance sector, if we look at everything else, the way we do our groceries, the way we do our retail, the way we do shopping, the way we do transportation, we expect now speed and convenience, and we don't want to be bothered. We expect you to know everything about us, to give us a personalized experience, but, you know, without me doing anything of an effort. That's the big challenge that we're dealing with across all sectors. And particularly in the insurance sector, there is still a lot to be done, but the time is now and we need to move very fast. And this is basically our mission at Motori, to unlock this type of value. We are not here just to deploy some sort of technologies or to, you know, do some projects here or there, or sell some licenses here or there, or stuff like that. We are here to unlock value and to make sure that we're able to help the insurance sector, particularly in the motor insurance side, to really create this kind of business sustainability and continuity amidst all the ongoing noise and investments and you know, these red oceans that we're swimming within that particular sector. Yeah.
No, that's a fantastic answer. And looking at digitizing and automating motor insurance, which is, again, high volume of claims, and more or less that can be standardized. But going to Jim, a fellow loss adjuster who's experienced that not every claim can be standardized, and that a lot of claims can be pretty complex, especially, you know, commercial claims. When loss adjusters traditionally, they show up to your house, store, office, factory, site, construction site, whatever, and it's a very face-to-face activity, a very human and personal activity. And I'm sure with all the years of experience you've had ups and downs and dealt with all kinds of policyholders. I suppose my question is, you know, you've dealt with that, but then COVID comes, and I know there comes the COVID question. Everybody knows it's been 3 years, but there's a COVID question, yeah. And that COVID question is, how do you loss adjust without visiting on site, or what technologies are you foreseeing happening to avoid on-site visits in loss adjusting?
Yeah, I think loss adjusters were digitizing pre the pandemic, primarily on lower value claims that we receive. So, you know, insurers send us the more complex ones. We then use our expertise to triage those and decide which ones are high risk of fraud, high cost, questionable cover. And on those simpler claims, we were already using some technologies like video and other very simple technologies. The pandemic just changed all that. So suddenly, older adjusters like me, more technical adjusters like me, had to learn a whole new process, a whole new way of interacting with customers, because you were never going to meet them. You weren't going to look them in the eye and work out if they were telling you the truth. So, you know, I can only talk about GRS because that's what I've known during the pandemic. We're now using very simple AI to triage those claims and work out the risk factors. We are using a varying degree of video technology to interact with the customer, and on those low risk, low value claims, we're quite comfortable using the insured's telephone to control the video, look at, show us the damage, do a virtual walk around for us, explain what happened, and record that. Clearly that needs GPS positioning because you want them to show them your property, not next door neighbour's property. Very simple things that just keep that fraud risk at bay. The real challenge with those claims then comes if they are complex, they are confrontational because there are cover issues or there are fraud issues, and not seeing someone is very difficult. But we had no choice. So you are literally using video, WhatsApp, messaging by voice, any mechanism you can to keep the claim moving. You're capturing data from different sources now. Adjusters became very inventive in terms of using social media platforms and other data sources that are freely available and open to the public, so we could harvest that information and try and work out what was going on, what happened when, are we being told the truth. We've implemented cost databases to help us construct estimates for repair remotely. I was in Beirut 2 years ago now. We were using drones inside the building, not only to capture video, but also to capture the contents, machinery, plant, measurements, so that we had a complete inventory of the building in its damaged state and its contents. And we could share that with the insured and say, there is no argument, it's now just a question of cost. What is there? And those technologies will become more and more relevant to loss adjusters, because you pay for my expertise, not for me to sit in the car and drive 2 hours listening to the radio, which is unfortunately what I have been doing. So it has changed the loss adjusting industry greatly, and I see that accelerating as more and more technologies come to our industry, which has always been quite traditional, kind of grey-haired, mainly men, although there are more and more women. Going to see customers and using their experience to determine whether the loss is covered or not, and whether the insured is genuine or not. I think the technology will do a lot of that for us, and our job will be to manage that situation with the insured and get them back, assuming it's a genuine claim that's covered, to the position they were as fast as possible. And that doesn't necessarily need a visit anymore.
That's very cool, as someone who's left loss adjusting almost 4 years ago, to see that drones are being used in commercial losses. It's one of the coolest things, and I hope in the future you've got things like facial recognition in videos so that you don't have to go, but as a loss adjuster you can retain your human capacity to tell if someone's telling the truth or not, while also understanding the boundaries of the customer, maybe just frustrated with a claim, or might not understand insurance as much as the people in this room do. So we've talked about challenges, we've talked about data lakes, we've talked about the values of tech providers and loss adjusters transitioning from real life to maybe soon even the metaverse in terms of claims. But I suppose the next question, and moving away from buzzwords like metaverse and blockchain and whatnot, let's focus on AI. And with Maher, I want to know, can you tell us, how is Solera using AI in handling motor claims?
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, AI is a very good subject today because it is part of the technology, part of the automation. If we automate the system, we can gain a lot on productivity. Artificial intelligence that Solera created, this software through Capture VI and Capture Intelligent Estimating, it provides the insurance companies the possibility to have an objective way to estimate and to detect damages. This will help the surveyors inside the company. They will help also the top management to have a clear idea. In some 4 or 5 seconds, you can have huge data, huge information on the damages for a vehicle. One thing very important to know is that Solera, as a worldwide leader in estimation and claim management solution, we are part of Vista Equity, which is our mother company, 55,000 people, and Solera is the main brand for claims management for the motors. Especially, we have property, we have other things, but especially for the motors claims. And when you are using the artificial intelligence, you will reduce cycle time. You will also go to fast repair. For example, in some countries, we did some great projects to have fast repair through the artificial intelligence, because now we can see that to approve a claim, to go to the garage, to deliver, sometimes even in the approval, it takes from 5 to 15 days. With artificial intelligence, it takes 5 minutes. It is incredible. That means from 5 minutes to 15 days. It's a huge, of course, to satisfy the customers, to retain them for the insurance company, and especially to have a negotiation, a platform of negotiation, a standard. That's why we are called standard worldwide, because we give a standard to insurance company to discuss with the dealers. What's happened? We are in the heart of the problematic. The problem is we have people from different interests, conflicts of interest. Dealers want to maximize their revenue by putting all the parts, and insurance companies want to lower the claim costs average, and everyone is trying to, to put everything that he can gain. But Solera, we are coming not only through artificial intelligence, also with our platforms, Capture and other solutions, coming in the middle to provide a kind of intermediation and objectives opinion to be a base for negotiation. So this is our heart of value proposition. And in other markets, for example, I'm coming from North Africa, we have more insurance companies than body shops and OEMs. And when I came here to take over the MENA region, I found that we have a lot of OEMs. We don't have insurance companies, which is, we have insurance companies, but not as much as I expected, because our market share is more than 65% with insurance companies. We are created from a Switzerland in Switzerland, 1966, and we were acquired, it was Odatex, acquired by American company, Solera. And we are giving insurance companies a way to do traceability, to reduce fraud, to give a kind of objective, and to give them a kind of new expertise. Even you are not a body shop, through our system, with the database that we have, you can challenge the dealer. Because what is different between us, and there is competition in data, because there is the data science and repair science. In the data science, you can have 100,000. You can find in the website an algorithm to detect. But what is our value is the data. We purchase more than $170 million each year for data, at least, to put it in our system, and we link the data science to the repair science, and we provide a unique value and a competitive advantage to the insurance company.